This is Outlandish Zicky Dice, and you're watching the best of old school and new school. This is the Nation Network. Outlandish.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Okay, we've got everything figured out, worked out, and we'll explain in just a minute. Not going to waste a whole lot of time getting our guests out here because this is what it's all about after all. So we're going to bring Sam into the studio. Welcome aboard, my friend. Thank you for being here today.
How's it going?
It's going pretty well. How are you doing, man? It's been a busy 2 weeks, I guess, since we really last had to do this.
Yeah, sorry, I'm literally just now tweeting out the link to this video so that people can come in. And everything hectic getting this together. Obviously, you said we'll explain the situation. Yeah.
So just so everybody knows, we tried to do this about an hour ago. We had daylight savings time last week and jumped ahead an hour, which I didn't even think about that aspect of it, whereas you guys haven't done it yet.
No, I think, is it next? 26th? Yeah, 26th is when we adjust our time. So, yeah, everything was off. It was...
So now it's a 6 hour difference instead of a 5 hour difference.
Right, yeah. So what it was, it's 10 o'clock your time just now.
It is now 10 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah, and so we'd arranged this for 2 o'clock my time.
Right.
And 9 o'clock your time. So that, yeah, threw everything
And
off.
I had 2 o'clock in my head, so I advertised it as 2 p.m. Eastern time. And then it's like last night I realized, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're all here now. That's what matters. And we're here to talk about Ultra Pro Wrestling. I guess the first thing we have to talk about is I told you so. You sounded a little concerned, like you were going to hit 20,000, man. I told you, I said, no, dude, you're going to get a little bit more than that.
Yeah, you were definitely right about that. You were very optimistic. And, you know, I was optimistic as well up until it came time to actually do it, actually put it out. And that's when I started thinking, oh, what if this just fails? What if no one's interested? What if I'm the only one that is really cares this much about that game? And I know there are other people, obviously, out there that do care about those games, but people actually putting money towards this project because they care about it that much. And the messages I've had from people where, you know, just listening to them talk about how much they love those games, and it's identical to how I feel about those games. It's awesome. It's amazing. And I don't think I was expecting it. Another thing I wasn't expecting was the rate at which it went up. Now, obviously, we wouldn't have put out a Kickstarter if I thought that it just absolutely would fail and not make any money. I thought it would do well, but I didn't think it would do well until we got a bit of publicity from like the Smack Talks and all these other big organizations that I'd contacted. And I thought, well, as soon as they start covering us and doing media, then it might pick up. But it was almost immediately. It was like I actually didn't check the Kickstarter for the first 2 days, maybe 3 days.
Are you kidding? Well, you were busy. That's right. You were traveling and stuff.
I was traveling. So that was one of the reasons. But yeah, when I eventually did check it, I think the first time I checked it, it was sitting at, I think, 13,000. And I'm like, what?
And that was within what, 48 hours? No, a little more maybe, but
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you made your goal in less than 3 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just blew it out the door. And I knew it. I talk to these people all the time that are in this world that we live in that want a good wrestling game, and we don't get one. We got another one that's not a good one again, which again, no surprise. I spend my money knowing it's going to be bad, trying to save other people the aggravation. We just did a stream last night on my buddy's channel, and we're talking about Ultra Pro 2 because again, here's another game that didn't deliver.
Yeah. And I'm not as, I've said this before, but I'm not as in the loop with current wrestling video games. Like, I can't even tell you the last 2K game that I've actually properly played. You know, I've seen videos, I've seen clips, I've heard people talking about them, but I'm just not really in that world. But I've been looking forward to a wrestling game like this since 20 years ago, since the API games.
I think we all have, and that's the thing.
Yeah. And
so, in my case, I actually went out and bought a Nintendo 64 a week ago. Doesn't seem to be working right now. I bought it used. I'm not sure. I've got a expansion card coming today to see if that's the problem. But I've got 4 wrestling. I got the WrestleMania 2000. I got the No Mercy because you got to. I got NWO versus WCW Revenge and ECW, which I know is going to be terrible. But at least I've got some stuff to really start getting into a little bit myself and streaming some of that content as well when I can get something up and working. What happened to all the folks that were there a minute ago?
Oh, they're in the corner here, keeping quiet.
Oh, there we go. Well, there's a big difference from last time, right, ladies and gentlemen? Now, obviously, there's always going to be skeptics, and we're going to start out. We're taking questions that have either been posted, or if anyone in the chat has questions, now is the time. There are always going to be skeptics, and some of that is justifiable because we've all either seen or been part of Kickstarter campaigns where the goal is reached, and then the product never comes out, and you don't get your money back. And people get a little gun shy after a few of those happen. So just the fact that you see all these people sitting there and you see the artwork and the stuff on the back wall, there's storylining going on, there's work happening. This is what this show is all about, is to make sure you understand that you're investing in a real product. It's not a scam. It's not people that are here today, gone tomorrow. And this is something that, again, we know from our previous interactions. Sam is like us, man. He loves wrestling. He loves gaming. And we want a good wrestling game. It's that simple. It's not rocket science.
Yeah, actually, that may be a good sort of segue into talking about that subject, the whole Kickstarter thing, because that's something that I wasn't too familiar with Kickstarter campaigns, and I'd never really used them before. I'd never backed a Kickstarter campaign. It was only through sort of looking for funding and ideas and stuff like that that kind of Kickstarter was the one that I thought would be the best one to go down. Before I released the trailer, maybe a week before, one of my friends sent me this YouTube video, and it's like a compilation of all the previous failed Kickstarter campaigns. And again, this was something I didn't even know that this was like a thing, but yeah, there's been a lot of video game campaigns that have got the money, got way more money than they were asking for, and there was no game. One of them was a guy had got a few 100,000, and he ended up spending the money on a house, so that the house was his office for working, and then he just didn't do the game, and of course he's just got a house out of it. And
which is again why it's great to see you in the office, see people in there working. This is a real deal thing, and that's what this show is all about, is making sure people understand that.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to try and just assure everyone that this is like, this game would be getting done regardless of money. It's going to take a lot longer without money. The money really helps us organize things and everything better. But this game's been in development. It started 7 years ago. There was a few years where there was an absence of development. But this isn't like a money thing. This is like, I've said this before. If I was to win the lottery and had millions of pounds, dollars, whatever, what would I do with my spare time? I'd be doing this game because I want to be able to play this game. This is all I want, So yeah, the money just absolutely helps us get there. And if anyone's kind of on the fence, I know there's some people that are there, they will just not trust Kickstarter campaigns, and I get it now after seeing all the failed ones in the past. I get it, but if anyone's kind of on the fence, I don't know what I can say. And just this game would be getting done regardless of money. The money just helps us get it done faster. Helps us be a bit more organized.
And speaking of the Kickstarter campaign, I don't know when the last time was you looked at it, but I'm looking at it right now. Do you know what it is?
I think it's close to 40,000. I don't know exactly what it is. Close to 40,000.
Oh yeah, it's close to 40,000. It's actually close to 50,000.
Oh, in dollars.
In dollars, yeah. I'm sorry. In
dollars. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Whenever we check it, it comes up in pounds. So
okay. So in U.S. currency, we're looking right now at $48,000 and almost 48.5. To be honest, you got almost $500 there in the small part.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, obviously, I know you know this. I don't know how many other people know this. We were in New Zealand recently. Just came back, but whenever I was logged out on the phone, and I checked the Kickstarter, it would come up initially in New Zealand dollars, and it'd be like 65,000, whatever it was, in New Zealand, and you go, what? Right, New Zealand, okay, New Zealand dollars, yeah. So
right. Let me do this real quick. Let me jump in with some of these questions. We've actually got one here. I'll circle back to it. But let me start with some of these that have been posted over the weeks. And again, as we move forward, if you have any other questions, folks, in the chat or what have you, post them either on this video or at the Twitter account, and then we will bring them in here, and then we can get the direct answer from the man who knows. Here we go. Boom. All right, so Steve Seidel asked, the animation looks 100% pulled from No Mercy and has an octagon cage, which UFC has a trademark on. I would love to learn it's real, but my gut says otherwise, unfortunately. So again, we have some people to address, the critics, the people who've... The UFC doesn't own the rights to having an 8-sided ring, do they?
I didn't think so. I thought that they only owned the rights to the name Octagon.
Correct.
And of course, I'm just like, all right, yeah, whatever. We'll call it something else. We'll call it the Noctagon, the Nonagon. I don't know. We'll call it something.
Yeah, coming up with clever names has not been a problem.
Yeah, but no, then as a couple of people mentioned this, and so I did a bit more looking into it, and I think they do. I think they actually do own. You're not allowed to have an 8-sided cage.
Okay.
I don't know how they got away with copyrighting a shape, but yeah, it's fine.
They copyrighted a shape, damn it. All the stop signs have to come down now.
Yeah, like I'll go copyright a circle, then we'll do that. So yeah, it's just a case of, all right, it's an annoying thing, but yeah, we'll have to just either remove one of the sides or add one of the sides, make it a 9-sided, whatever. It's not a big deal, but it's just a little bit annoying. And I was never going to call it the Octagon anyway, because as far as I knew, that name was trademarked, and so I couldn't use that anyway. I didn't realize they actually trademarked the shape, so that's fine.
Cool.
We'll just change it slightly. Oh, but sorry, not to jump past the guy said about the moves being pulled from No Mercy. There's absolutely nothing from those games that are in our games. Nothing has been pulled from those games and put in our game. We obviously reference those games, we look at them, and we try our hardest to sort of line up the animations. But there's nothing actually pulled from No Mercy. A lot of people think it's a mod. Like, I don't know how you could mod a version of No Mercy to have all the crowd, the 3D crowd and all that stuff, but some people see the trailer and they think it's just a No Mercy mod. But no, it's not a mod. It's 100% built from the ground up. This is a brand new game engine. It'll be on all the consoles, all that stuff. The animations, if people think the animations are exactly the same as No Mercy, then I take it as a compliment to how well we've been able to match them up. But it's actually very, very difficult to do it. And as some other people have pointed out as well, the modding community for No Mercy and all these games, they've been trying to recreate these animations. They've been trying to play around with the animations for years and have never been able to do it. They've never been able to extract animation data. And as far as I know, it can't be done. But and that's all because that's a big, long story about how the N64 handled animations. It's different from how it's used today. But yeah, so anyone worried that we're just going into No Mercy and pulling out stuff, that's not what we're doing.
Exactly. So one of these, you've actually already answered this, but in case anyone else out there is similar, it's is this No Mercy mod, since the core code seems exactly the same? It's the reference material. It was the inspiration. Yeah,
I mean, some people, if they see some of the footage, when he says there the core code is the same, I mean, obviously, yeah, I don't even know what the code looks like. I don't even know what language the code is written in for No Mercy and all those N64 games. The code is obviously completely different. It's built on Unity. We use C# to script it. I don't know what they use for scripting in the N64 games. But I think what they are possibly referencing there is not just the animations, but the actual gameplay that we have where the camera moves the same. Again, that's intentionally done, and it's not an easy thing to match and line up. It took quite a while to get it right, and a lot of testing to get the camera movement right and the timing and all this stuff.
That's a good idea, man. 2K should learn about that. That's where we come in. We test it for them after we pay $120.
Yeah.
Uncle Juicy TV, gotta love some of these names. Will you be able to take your opponent backstage as per No Mercy, fight in the car park, locker rooms, etc.?
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the great things about No Mercy, being able to throw them up the ramp, and then all of a sudden you're playing backstage. It's not, you don't have to select the backstage area as a starting point of a match. Right. You can just go there anytime. That so that's like quite a big free roam part of what No Mercy was, and yeah, definitely we'll be doing that as well. The backstage area that we have is going to be such a huge important part of the game because it's so integral to the career mode. And in the career mode, you'll start off backstage and you'll be able to walk around in a sort of third person perspective. So that'll be different from other parts of the game. But yeah, actually in a game, in a match, you can just take them, throw them up the ramp, and all of a sudden you'll be backstage. Just very, very similar to how it was in No Mercy.
That's great. That's going to definitely give it a huge replay value. Let's see, it's a long one, but I bought the championship level for the same reason. I was talking about the fact that I've always wanted to own a championship belt, and I just never got around to it for whatever reason. But then I saw that you had this part of the campaign. So tell us a little bit about this championship belt. Like, what's it made of? What's it look like? That kind of thing. Is it going to look like the game version of the championship title that we've already seen?
Well, I'm hoping. I was actually going to email the guy today because now that we've had so many orders on the Kickstarter, I think there's like more than 50, I think.
Wow.
So I was actually going to message the guy today and ask if he could send me a sample belt. And then I'll be able to show everyone. The guy that I've been talking to, he's assured me that it's high quality. It's a 4mm.
It's about standard
plate. It's real leather.
Wow, that's good too. A lot of them aren't.
Yeah, well, funny enough, someone asked me if someone messaged me to ask if it was real leather or synthetic leather because they would prefer the synthetic leather. So I actually had to go and message this guy yesterday to find out about that. And so he says it's real leather. But I think if someone wants a synthetic leather version, I think that's doable. I think I can make an exception in those cases with the guy if that's something that people want. But yeah, so as far as I know, it is going to be as high quality as any replica belt that's out there.
Cool.
And as soon as I get a sample, I'll post videos and pictures and show everyone exactly what it looks like.
Hey, we could even bring it on here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Josh Richards wants to know, so much potential. First wrestling game I've wanted to purchase in 10 to 15 years. I have heard so many people say this, that they haven't even thought about buying a wrestling game, and now they're thinking about it because this has got them excited. And that, again, I felt that rumble for a long time. And when I saw what you were doing, I knew this is going to be the thing that grabs people. I'd love to see an old school arena with a cameraman, and the box TVs with all the cables would be cool. So basically, it's looking like an old NWA TV set studio kind of thing. Is there going to be an arena type setting with something like that with a guy holding the camera up on his shoulder?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something I've thought about because obviously I like the different arenas being completely different from each other.
Different feeling.
Japan, and Japan as well, when you had all the photographers round the ring.
Yep.
That gives it that 80s Japan feel. And so it's something I've thought about. And we obviously have a system for generating the crowd. So I'm thinking maybe I could use that same system for generating the crowd, but to generate individual job roles. So you possibly could have a cameraman that we'd have one cameraman, but you could kind of scatter them around different places, and photographers, all the sort of ring crew, because that would look awesome.
Oh my god. And it would, again, these are the little details that would so separate this game from anything else out there.
Yeah, but so that is something that I need to. It's an idea that I want to pursue, but it's not something that I can really publicly confirm one way or the other because there's just so much testing involved. But it is something that I've thought about and something that I think would be cool to have in the game as well. Definitely.
Right. This really got a lot of people's attention and people talking, and I was like, this really is cool. I know I'm not likely going to be the champion at any point in time, but to have the online mode where the player who's the champion has to defend their title at least once a week, you said, right?
Yeah,
so you got that. And then based on everyone else's win-loss records, they will move up and down, just like real sport.
Yeah. This is it's one of my favorite ideas that have come from this. I don't know why no other games have done it before.
I was just going to ask you, has anyone ever done this?
No, I don't think so.
Me
And
either.
I'm worried that maybe I'm going to find out that there's a reason why no one's done it. Maybe there's like a logistics reason as to why it's just very difficult to do that. But I don't know. I can't really see why that would be an issue.
If you can track wins and losses,
yeah.
And the only thing I mean, you're much more on that side than I am. The only thing I wouldn't know about at all is whether or not you can tell when a person defended the title. In other words, how you track the 7-day period thing.
Oh yeah, I mean that's all. Every username would be tied to, like their online account would be tied to a UPW server somewhere.
Okay.
Even though the actual gameplay that might actually occur on a different server like Xbox and PlayStation. You can put their games, you can put your games on their servers, and they handle a lot of the online stuff. But we can also have a separate server that just tracks the data of wins, losses, and how long someone has had the title and all that stuff. One question that does come up around this online mode is the time zones for different people in the world.
Good point. As we just learned today.
Yeah. So if you're in America and maybe the show that we would have, UPW Blast, maybe this would kind of air at like 7 p.m. or something like that. It's not really fair for everyone else in the world that for them it's like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And so, yeah, I get it, but it's like, I don't know what else to do. Like, when we were growing up, actually, we used to, all the pay-per-views, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, they don't come on for us until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And, tough. There's nothing we can do about it. You just have to stay up or record it and watch it the next day, whatever it's just a circumstance that you can't get around. But I do have one idea that might sort of help with that. And that would be having, as well as the global internet champion, you could have regional belts as well. So you would have the American belt that could be defended at a reasonable time slot.
Mm-hmm.
And the European belt that maybe the requirement for that to be defended is at a different time slot. So that's a way of kind of appeasing that.
Then you could even have like monthly super shows where all of those champions meet at find the closest thing to a good time for everybody, which might be 11 p.m. somewhere, but it's better than 2 a.m.
Yeah. And you know what? If you can't stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning to defend your title, then you're not worthy of it.
You're not a real champion. That's a fact. All right. Somebody's got smaller on me for some reason. Michael wants to know, will you be able to change the turnbuckles because the WWF ring is not going to look right with them flat turnbuckles?
Yeah. Not just the turnbuckles, but also the ring posts. There'll be, well, you've got the turnbuckle pads, and I assume that's what he's talking about, turnbuckle pads. But you actually have the metal turnbuckle that has a cover over it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the game has to be so focused on customization. So all these stuff, like we'll have the Japanese turnbuckles. I even want the option of a boxing ring type situation where
with the one big pad going down.
Well, yeah. And also the 4 ropes could be a thing.
Oh wow!
It's just to give, because why not? Just give those options in there.
So now you got me thinking, because Fire Pro has always had different categories of fighters, and they have like an octagon type ring and the Lucha Libre ring. What I'm wondering is if I ever seen them do 4 ropes, and I don't think they've even done that.
I don't know. I can't think of any wrestling games that have done it.
Me either.
Yeah, it's like you've got a ring anyway. Add in another rope, and it creates another arena that you could make, another match type possibly. So yeah, and we're trying to reference what the AKI games did, and you go back to WCW versus NWO World Tour. They had Joe Bruiser, who was a Muhammad Ali prototype, and all his moves were punches. He couldn't do a grapple.
Right.
So I love that. Yeah, throw that in there. You know, make one of the styles of your fighting style, make it a boxing style, and maybe then you're limited to only punches, but maybe that advantages you in other ways. Maybe you can knock people out faster or whatever. I love the idea of opening up the game to as many different possibilities like that as possible. But yeah, not even as well the turnbuckle pads and all stuff. I remember watching old footage of WCW and just the ring post. They'd have the ring post with like a sort of sharp edge rather than the rounded edge. And I'm like, yeah, why not? Why it actually doesn't take too much effort to add in a slightly different shape for a ring post, and just having those different variations, it opens up so much possibilities for creating different environments and stuff. So yeah,
did you hear that, 2K? It doesn't take that much effort. Which is exactly their strength. They don't put in much effort. Can we control both players like whatever? I'm not sure what reference to the game, WR3D. That was a great feature of a wrestling game. I'm not sure which game that is that he's referring to. Can we control both players?
I'm not sure if he means like a tag team match where like once you tag, you then take over the partner.
Yeah, the active person.
Yeah. So yeah, you'll actually have, when you set up a match, you'll have the option to have your partner computer controlled or controlled by you as well. So if he's computer controlled, whenever you tag him, you basically have to stand on the apron and you're waiting on being tagged back in. If he's player controlled, then as soon as you tag, you take control of the other player.
Or maybe the option to toggle back and forth, which is what 2K actually does right. One of the few things.
Oh, right. So you can just push a button and it's switched.
If you press, I believe, the left stick in, all of a sudden you can be the guy outside the ring. So if you know you're going into your finisher and you're tired of them breaking up the pinfall, you can toggle out, jump in, and make sure they don't break up the pinfall.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that.
Okay. Food for thought.
Yeah, I'll have a think about that.
Let's see. Please have league mode in virtual pro wrestling. I had to ask him what he was referring to. If you're familiar with, there was another game he was mentioning, and I can't think of the title right now, but basically wins and losses mattered. You got points for them, and it carried over throughout a period of time. I don't know if it was like a month or whatever it was. Any of that ringing a bell with you?
I'm trying to think if that was maybe their equivalent of a story mode, because I don't think Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. They didn't have like that. I think that's their version of the story mode. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone. So yeah, rather than have like obviously No Mercy had the branching off different bits, and then you'd cut to like you'd have people on the microphone and you'd have the drama and the storylines and everything associated. Virtual Pro Wrestling, as far as I know, they didn't have that, and I think that this league mode was their sort of version of that, so that you basically had a single player campaign. So I guess I guess our career mode is sort of the equivalent of that, where in the career mode, your wins and losses will impact how your future career plays out and whether or not you get title opportunities, all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jay Barnacles, will the moves and taunts of all the AKI classics, VPW, World Tour, Revenge, No Mercy, be in UPW? How about the striking mechanics that you could do after a strong grapple in Revenge with Goldberg or Glacier, for example? You played those games, so you're going to know the answers better than I would.
Yeah. So funnily enough, I wasn't too big a fan of that grappling system, that striking system. But it was a part of those games, and it was more relevant in Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 because they had they had a stronger emphasis on the MMA aspect, and so I can see why that system was useful there and why they went for it. So because we're also doing an MMA aspect, I'll definitely be putting a system like that in. It might not be exactly the same as the AKI one. But yeah, I think there's still so many ideas with the MMA aspect of it. But I'm sure we'll have something very similar to that for all the MMA fighters in the game.
Cool. Kind of curious, how will the blood look in the game? Will there be blood on the mat, and can we fight in the crowd? Now, I already know some of the answers, but I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah, so you'll be able to fight in the crowd. That was one thing I always wished I could do in No Mercy that you were never able to do. And I think probably people who mod that game have found a way of doing that in the modded versions. But yeah, fighting in the crowd, definitely. The blood system. So obviously in those old games, it was just a texture change. It just went from the texture that you have to the texture with the blood splatter. I don't want to do that. I don't want to just do a straight texture change. I want there to be a way. I've got an idea of how to do this, but we've not properly implemented it yet. But yeah, I want to basically start off with a little bit of blood, and then as time goes on, it slowly gets more and more and thicker, and definitely it has to leave stains on the mat and all that stuff. So yeah, we have an idea for an advanced blood system, but it's not 100% fleshed out yet, and it's not implemented yet. So
okay, but it's in the game plan.
Definitely, yeah.
Joe Commission says, so is this game 20, 24, or 23?
As of now, it's again, if the Kickstarter skyrockets towards the end, and it does, I mean, it's already done really, really well, but if it does even better, the better it does, the more we can cut down on time. But as of right now, our goal is to have a full early access demo of the game where we have a full one-on-one match, and that's scheduled for, I think, August or November of this year. I think it's November. And then the full game with all the bells and whistles, that'll be late next year. So that'll be the full release on all the consoles. That'll be 2024.
Excellent. We're going to start addressing some of the comments on the live stream right now. So we've got Chris over here saying that he's spoken a few times. Just want to say again, you're doing great. The team is too. Speaking of the team, can we meet the folks that are there with you, find out what they're doing?
Oh, Hazel's running away.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, this is Stephen Dure.
Good evening.
Stephen, what do you do?
I'm looking at sound design and original soundtrack.
Nice.
Which is good. I'm a tour manager. I tour the world with bands and stuff. Grew up doing music and stuff, and always helped Sam with projects.
And you're a wrestling fan, I take it?
I was up until after that Attitude Era. I gave up.
Well, at least you got through the best of it.
Yeah.
This is Frank.
Hello, Frank.
Hello, how's it going?
It's going very well. What are you doing, sir?
I'm helping with animating. So some of the moves that you see, I'm helping with that.
Animators. Well, we need animators, don't we?
Top to have there as well. Pirate Bay on the t-shirt.
Nice. So you guys right now that you have a bit of a team surrounding you, I mean, I've got to imagine this is moving a lot easier for you.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. It's doing this by myself. It just takes so long. You know, any extra person I have. We also have other people working that aren't here just now. There's also Hazel in the background who's hiding.
Hi, Hazel. What's Hazel doing?
Yeah, she's the cleaner. No, I'm kidding.
That's what I do half the time too, so it's a good thing.
No, Hazel's my partner.
All right.
There you go.
There was a big announcement made earlier this week that most everybody is aware of, and I was going to have him on as our special guest today, but he ended up having to go get the kids from school. So I guess it came up tails.
Is that my fault for the time?
No. He thought it was going to be 2 p.m. our time, and I didn't realize it till last night. And I said, if you can't make 9 a.m., I can still meet you one-on-one at 2 o'clock. But then he's got to get the kids, so it wouldn't have happened either way for him today. But next week we'll get him. Sure. That is, of course, the great Hal Haney. And the question is every single one of Hal Haney's characters going to be in the game, or is it just a select few?
Well, I think the idea is probably all of them, but I guess it will be. Yeah, I get the idea is we need 100 characters, And so he's developed already, I think 60 odd.
At least. His original run of characters was 41, and he has been releasing the black and white illustrations, and at least another, it seems, well, including tag teams, probably another 20 in the last several weeks. They haven't been colored yet, but I mean, he's banging them out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm sort of having to say that there was a character that he designed that I wasn't a fan of, or didn't like or something. Then I guess we would talk about that. But as of now, I haven't seen a single character that he's made that I liked. So there's a very good chance that every single one of his characters will be in the game.
That's great. I've been on my channel taking his artwork and putting it into 2K. So it's a 3D. Yeah. We're going backwards. It's taking an animation and making it like a real person. And it has been so well received by the community. Everyone loves this guy's work. And then when we find out that he's on board with this project, it really just gave it a big pop, and expectations and anticipation probably is even bigger.
Yeah, I mean, especially for our career mode. This is something that I was saying to Hal as well, that we kind of want people that are sort of prototypical, like could be, like you could see this character used as a version of someone in real life. Mm-hmm. But I don't like the kind of, I don't like developing characters that are too close. Even our version of Americana is slightly too close to like Rey Mysterio, and so I do try to avoid getting too close to real world characters, especially with names. There's been video games in the past. People will know 5-Star Wrestling had like Harvey D, Greg. So that for me is like a little too close. And so everything I've seen from Hal, where you can kind of see the influences, but they're not. But they are unique.
But you get that even today when guys and girls get trained and then they get out into NXT or whatever division or promotion they're in. Yeah. You can see, oh yeah, I can see where she's, and they'll tell you, hey, this was my inspiration. This is the reason I'm in wrestling. So we're all drawing from, again, my whole season is based on his artwork. It's what it is. You draw from other creators, and that's how you get all these ideas. And that's why seeing people in the room with you, I know from a creative standpoint how much easier it is, how much better it is, because now you got ideas you can bounce back and forth. You're not in a room by yourself anymore. For creative purposes, that's monumental.
Yeah, definitely.
Sean Cassidy says this could be the game to end all wrestling video games. Can't wait. Now, Sean, are you still singing to Do Run Run, or probably not that Sean Cassidy, right?
Yeah, definitely. Let's go.
TNA, did they have an 8-sided ring or 6? 6 sides of steel. It was a 6-sided ring.
I'm not sure, but there was me and Frank were talking about this. There's the film No Holds Barred.
What's that now?
The film No Holds Barred.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they had an 8-sided ring at the end when Hogan was fighting Zeus.
Yeah, but that was made before UFC was a thing.
Oh yeah. For in terms of like,
that was before Dana got his hooks into the trademarks.
I guess the UFC part of their trademark will be that yes, it's the shape, but it's also has to have the cage elements of it as well. I assume they can't just say anything that's that shape is theirs, but yeah.
El Waster wants to know, will you be looking to support custom textures and image uploads? I know we talked about this a few weeks back, and it was still kind of on the fence. We weren't sure.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to have that. I don't know all the limitations of doing that, but yeah, if we can have like a website or even an app where you can just even on the phone, that would be kind of cool. Play around with an image. And upload it to a website that then I guess would be linked to your ID, and then it just shows up in your game as a texture that you can use. You can create an outfit with it, upload it to Community Creations. That would be ideal. But of course, we also have, as not everyone is going to be capable of, because you might need something like Photoshop to play around with the textures before you upload them. And not everyone's going to have that. So we do have the in-game texture editor, which is, if anyone's played Animal Crossing, it's kind of like that. You basically have the clothing item in front of you, and you have a little paintbrush that you just use the analog stick to paint on whatever texture, whatever you want. So that's also a kind of cool system that's a good alternative. But if we can get custom textures, image uploads, then yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Cool. Valhalla wants to know, does the game have a mode where I can book matches?
No, not just now. We have, because everything that's planned for the game is so that we can release it next year. So we can't obviously put every idea and everything into the initial release. And so a sort of booker career mode is something that a lot of people want. It's something I want too. But that's going to have to come later. That's going to have to be like, well, when we initially launch the game, we'll have our main career, we're calling it Legacy Career. And the reason we're calling it Legacy Career is so that you can differentiate that career mode from other career modes. And the other career modes would be like a booker mode.
Okay. That's a good answer. Can you wrestle in the crowd? We've already acknowledged that you can wrestle in the crowd. I'd like the game to have a WWE 2K19 engine, or maybe this year better than 2K20, which was horrible. Keith, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I'll let you, you're the technician guy. I'll let you talk about what's under the hood.
Oh, in terms of...
You haven't played the actual 2K19 game, so I'm not sure exactly.
I can't really comment on the difference between 2K19 and 2K20. Yeah,
well,
I'm not.
The big difference is 2K19 worked.
All right. I did actually see a bunch of the compilation video of stuff going wrong in 2K20 with the ropes flying about and
the eyes flying about, the teeth flying about.
Yeah. That's right. I saw those as well. So yeah, I mean, obviously, they're going for a lot of those WWE games. They're going for hyper realism, and they use a lot of physics. And I'm sure they use ragdoll physics as well.
Yeah.
Because we don't have any ragdoll physics, and actually a lot of the physics that we're using are just not going for realism necessarily. So it's actually a lot easier to constrain them and reduce the potential for bugs and fuck ups, basically.
It happens.
Yeah. So yeah.
So we already talked about the Japanese style turnbuckles. That's something you're looking at putting into the games, the different styles of turnbuckles and ring rope options, customizable mats.
Yeah, we even have because obviously the WWE ropes are different. They're the real ring rope. Whereas if you look at like ECW and all these independent shows, and even WCW actually, they didn't use real ring rope. They used
cables.
Elevator wire. So I even want the ropes in the game to function slightly different if you're using the indie show elevator wire ropes as opposed to the WWE more springy, I guess, ring ropes.
Cool. Here's a good one by Keith. Are there any Battle Royal matches or Royal Rumble style matches?
Yeah, we can't use obviously the term Royal Rumble, so we've just sort of used this term Royale. And Royale in Ultra Pro Wrestling just means anything that's more than two people. So if you have a 10-man Royale, that is basically a Battle Royale. And then if you have, I think we also have like a Gauntlet Royale, which is basically the Royal Rumble, where it's not everyone doesn't start off in the ring. One comes down after a certain time limit. We call that a Gauntlet Royale. So it's the same match as a Royal Rumble.
And then Chris says that the league mode that was referred to earlier was something like G1, which I'm not even familiar. So is that something you know anything about G1?
No. I'm gonna have to go back and look. See, as well with the virtual pro wrestling game, as much as I love that game, I didn't really discover that till years later. So
Can you make your own wrestler in the game? Yes.
yeah. Actually, all the you can create a new wrestler and have a new wrestler save slot. But you can also go in and completely edit all the existing wrestlers in the game.
So basically, it's a full-on sandbox.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Which is what I think everybody's been asking for. I know that's what I've been asking for.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about this before, but I used to think there's nothing worse than having a created wrestler that just doesn't look like he belongs. He doesn't look like he was made by the developers. He just looks like a created wrestler.
Yeah.
You know,
and even this year, they've done a lot in 2K, but it's still, to me, now the people that put stuff out that are really good CAW creators, they have put some stuff out that looks better than the stuff in the game, which is sad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've saw a couple of MJF CAWs that look really good, and yeah.
Okay, mechanics on Twitter brought new information to light. Okay, does this make sense to you? Has any of Melonbread's breakdown of the old AKI mechanics on Twitter brought new information or light in terms of gaming balancing?
That's an awesome question, because
all
of this stuff here on the wall, these are all Melonbread's tweets. So absolutely, yeah.
Now, for those of us that don't know, what exactly is going on there? What is that?
So Melonbread, he's a Twitter user. I've got one on Discord as well, and he's someone that has just completely. I don't even know how he does it, but he's looked at the AKI games and he's been able to work out everything about the mechanics, from like, you know, the amount of starting health that the players have, you know, because you don't know what that number is when you're just playing the game. But he's somehow been able to see under the hood in some way, where he knows that every character starts off with 255 health. He knows the amount of health that's reduced from certain types of hits. Just everything that you could imagine about how those AKI games functioned, which before I discovered Melonbread, this would all have been a case of us sitting around
and figuring it out.
Playing those games and figuring it out, and, you know, taking a long time to really see how the game functioned in terms of the actual numbers. But yeah, Melonbread just came along and it was like, oh, health 255, damage decreases by 30% when this happens. It's just
like a roadmap that you don't have to go out and figure out where the roads are and put in a map yourself. Somebody's giving you the map. I
just said this to these guys yesterday. I said, this, and we've never met Melonbread, but funnily enough, he is actually from Scotland. So there's a chance I'll get to meet him one day, and we'll, I don't know, go for a beer or something. But I just said to those guys yesterday, I said, you know, if this game does really, really well, I'm gonna have to buy Melonbread a car or something. Like, I'm just gonna have to show up at Sales and be like, dude, you know, you helped us so much with all this fucking information that, you know, you deserve something from us. But yeah, so Melonbread's awesome. He's cool. This game would take so much longer if not for Melonbread. He's helped with all that information immensely.
That is awesome. Yeah. That is awesome. I mean, to have, like I said, it's a roadmap.
Yeah.
And to not have to figure, it's like GPS, and to be able to say this is exactly where you're going to get when you do this, it's a major time saver.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So John wants to know about the championship belts, custom championships, things of that nature, which, again, the answer will be yes on that.
Yeah, I mean, the promotions in the game will work the same as the characters, where everything can be played around with and edited. And, of course, each promotion will have their own belts. But promotions change what belts they have over time, so that has to be a feature of the game as well. You will be able to go in and change what type of belts a promotion has. And of course, you're going to have to be able to change the. Why is everyone running away?
It's lunchtime.
Yeah, I think that's. They're going to make coffee. That's what it is. So the design of the belts, that obviously has to as well be a part of the game, being able to customize. I'm not. This is something I've been thinking about a lot actually over the last few days, and I think it's because of the new 2K game. I see a lot of images of people showing belts that I'm assuming that they've made in the game. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to go about doing all the create a belt mode, because there's just so many different shapes and ideas, and you don't want it to just be a texture. You don't want it to just be, here's a circular belt with a texture of what the belt should look like. You want it to kind of pop a little bit. So I'm not entirely sure how detailed the create a belt aspect of the game will be. But if it's not up to standard, it's something that I'll continually work on throughout the years, and we'll get it right eventually. So yeah,
I have no doubt. Jäger Brister wants to know, what are the weapon physics like? Are there tables? Can you do moves on chairs that are on the floor like No Mercy? Tables disappeared too quickly in No Mercy.
Yeah, I wouldn't have tables disappearing.
Yay.
Yes, that's one thing I don't like. If you break the table, like yeah, if you break the table, the remains of the table are there. It's the same with anything else in the game. Like if you start off the match and you're wearing a hat or sunglasses, and they come off, they shouldn't just disappear. Like they shouldn't just vanish into thin air. You should
At least not right away. It's like once the camera moves away, like if you go outside the ring and they were inside the ring, and then you come back into the ring and they're gone. Now maybe the referee swept them away or something like that.
If you can do something where they are out of shot of the camera and you use that as an opportunity to unload them from the game, then fine. Maybe not tables, because that would be a bit too obvious. The referee can't hide the remains of the table. Well, I guess he could, but
yeah, I see them kick stuff out of the ring.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if it's out of shot of camera, then maybe we'll use that as an opportunity to unload it. But having the table just slowly vanish and disappear, no, I don't like that.
It's worse when it goes away immediately.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't really answer that guy's question. The physics, as of right now, everything, every core thing is basically, we're just looking at how it worked in No Mercy. So like ladder physics will work the same as what they did in No Mercy. Slamming people onto chairs, as Melon Bread actually found out, doesn't actually increase the damage. If a chair is on the ground, someone is slammed into it, doesn't actually increase the damage. So that's something we would change. We would make it that if you suplex someone on a chair, there should be additional damage. There should be probably a different cell, a different reaction to the chair. But on top of that as well, one thing that No Mercy didn't have was being able to set up the chairs. And of course, as a fan, I always wanted to do the Sabu triple jump moonsault.
Yeah.
And of course, you need the chair for that. You need it to be propped up. And then your mind starts going, and you're like, well, if we can have part of the mechanics is you can run into the chair and you then automatically
springboard off of it. Yeah.
You should be able to then do like the Hardy Boys moves where Matt goes down on all fours. So if in the game someone goes down on all fours, you should be able to run on them the same way that you can on the chairs. So that's a mechanic that's not in No Mercy that I'd be looking to implement here. Sorry, we missed that. We missed that question there.
No, that was actually just Jay was mentioning the fact that this is probably going to be the game that turns him from 2K permanently. And again, a lot of people are echoing these thoughts. They only buy the 2K game because what else is there?
Yeah,
no one is putting out anything. And I was just on Blaze's show last night. As a matter of fact, Blaze is here. Look at that. And we were talking about the fact that the only thing that's going to ever affect 2K is people like you, because now we're going to take our money and go to the guy who's listening to us. And 2K is only making money because there is no other game in town.
Yeah. And and also as well, I feel really bad for the gamers that play every single year, and every single year have to update their cause. They spend so long developing these cause, and then next year you can't transfer them over, and you have to spend the whole time again. I feel for you.
That's why I've gone straight to the communities and build them. I'm not doing that anymore.
Oh, yeah,
Except
yeah.
for this year, because it's such an original thing. There's nowhere else to get them.
Yeah.
Blaze has a great question about the bleeding. Will it be women as well?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Yeah.
Equity.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but there's a lot of people ask about like the intergender matches. Will there be intergender matches? And maybe I'm missing something, but I'm just like, yeah, of course, why not? Like,
Well, they don't do it anymore in the games. They haven't done that. Wow, I don't even know how far back you'd have to go to last game that we had intergender.
Right. See, that to me is I'm not familiar with that. That's just I don't know why you wouldn't. It's a video game, you know. You can select. Like, look at Street Fighter. If you play Street Fighter,
Hello,
and you,
tear people's heads off and stuff.
well, but if you play Street Fighter and then as soon as you select Ryu, then Chun-Li becomes invisible. You're not allowed to select Chun-Li because you can't have intergender matches. It's like, what, it's a video game. Of course you can have intergender matches. It's fun. It's not, we're not advocating for men against women, all that stuff. That's just reading into it too much,
Exactly. And that's what they twisted on. So you might not get this reference. Is there going to be an unlockable invisible Cena or an action figure Cena? So if you haven't heard, this year when you play through their campaign mode, there's a John Cena where he's invisible.
Yeah, you can see both.
Yeah, you can see his jersey and his
yeah.
It's stupid as hell. And now they have another thing where if you buy a certain action figure in Walmart, you scan in the receipt to their website, and you will unlock John Cena as an action figure, but playable in the game, but only in the My Faction mode.
That's interesting.
It's interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hokey.
Yeah. I didn't know about that one. I knew about the invisibility one. I saw a video clip of that, but I didn't know about the action figure one. I don't know. The reason that gives me pause is because I'm a huge fan of the Hasbro action figures.
Yep.
And there's been times when I've been developing this game where I've thought to myself, like WWE they've never done a Hasbro video game, like a retro action figure video game. And so like one of the rings that I put in the game that it will hopefully be this bonus unlockable ring is basically a what do you call it? A version of the Hasbro ring. I don't. What's the right word? A homage. Parody is not the right word.
Tribute.
Yeah, a tribute. So yeah, there's a. Oh, you broke up. You there?
I'm here.
Yeah. So yeah, we have a ring in the game that functions that is a version of the Hasbro ring, and I love that because I'm such a big fan of those Hasbro figures. But
I got something for you to see then.
Oh, nice. Do you know? I think I've seen that online. I've seen.
It's been online quite a bit, and as soon as I saw it, I grabbed it. It's got just about, if not every Hasbro figure ever made. That is the perfect friggin' shirt.
Yeah, no, I love those figures. Obviously, grew up on them.
Yep.
And I love Matt Cardona does the podcast, the action figure podcast, and he's got that big one where it's all dedicated to the Hasbro. I think it's like 2 hours long or something like that. I love all that stuff. But so the idea of having the action figures, I'd love this. This is like so separate from Ultra Pro Wrestling. If we could have a wrestling game that was the Hasbro ring and the Hasbro figures designed to look the way that they actually looked, and you can control them, I'd love that. And so yeah, maybe once Ultra Pro Wrestling is all done, I'll get in contact with WWE and try and make that happen.
Yeah, really. It's like, hey, this game's actually popular with the fans. You ever thought about something like that?
Yeah.
One King wants to know about updates once the game comes out for creating superstars. So maybe additional shirt options or hat options or mask options or something like that.
Yeah, I will just update this game forever. Like there's never going to be a point. Sometimes I see other games where they promise updates and you maybe get like a couple of new costumes. I love what M. Dickey does. M. Dickey just continually grinds away, fixing the game, updating it, adding new features. Like he posted a video the other day of he has this mode where I'm guessing this is a new mode where you can like handcuff the opponent, and so you can perform moves. You can give them like a pile driver, and they're handcuffed, and they stay handcuffed throughout the match. Just lots of different like features like that that you can just upgrade and add over time. Like I love that. And yeah, definitely costumes, attires. Because we are limited with how many people we have working on the game, and how much time we have and how much money we have, we can't just put everything in all at once. So it will require that we release the game, so that when we release the game, that will help us get a little bit more money, that then we can use that money to put more stuff in the game. So it'll be a continual updating process.
Very good. All right, we'll make this the last question. Will there be much focus on in-match camera angle changes? I always enjoyed when angle changed for longer animated moves in the older games.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I've been looking into with the obviously No Mercy. They had the camera move whenever you performed like a bigger move. If you performed like a jackknife or something, the camera would like zoom in and rotate all this stuff. So obviously we had to develop that camera movement for the in-game mechanics. So one thing that I've been kind of looking at as well is No Mercy. The camera never moved. The camera just always faced the ramp, the stage. And so what an idea that I've been playing around with is, well, when you do these big moves, the camera can, like, let's say, okay, let's use this. So the camera starts off here, facing the ramp, and then you do a move like a jackknife, and the camera will sort of zoom in and then face there. And then No Mercy, the camera just snaps back to here. But what I'm thinking is maybe when the camera moves in and you perform a move there, it then snaps back to there. And so now you're facing an entirely new angle, not because you went into the options menu and changed a setting, but because you performed this big move, and now the camera angle is different. And then if you perform another big move where the camera moves, then all of a sudden you'll be facing a different direction. So that kind of helps keep the match feel a little bit more changing throughout time, and not as stale. And of course, you don't have to go into the options, change it. It just would do it on the fly. So I'd like to get some feedback from the people who love these AKI games on that, because one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to change too much of the game to where the people who love the AKI games and want it to be exactly that, I don't want them feeling let down, like we changed too much and got far away from what it's supposed to be. So we have to be careful with all the little changes like that we make. And I'll
tell you one thing I always appreciated ECW for, and Heyman has said it many times, is that I didn't have the budget to compete with WWE, and I didn't have the budget to compete with WCW, but I had really good talent in the ring. We had a 2-camera shoot, and I loved having a hard camera and just one ringside camera that they would just flip back and forth. It was enough to get you up close for some of the good moves, and then back and you see the match, and it was enough, and it wasn't over the top.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of what's going on with the AKI games. You've got the hard cam, and then it moves to show a move, and then it switches back. You've only really got those two different cameras that it sort of transitions between, rather than a hard cut. I don't. So yeah, that's a whole other thing to go into. But yeah,
we'll do that next week. We'll talk about
sure.
And again, as this thing progresses, we're going to keep on bringing you guys updates. Again, want you to understand this is a real thing. It's not like others have been. And at the same point in time, you can tell Sam wants input. He wants to hear what the people want. We want the game as a community. We want this game to be something that makes everybody happy. It's been a long time.
Yeah, and also just on that, because obviously this thing is kind of blowing up and getting big, and I'm someone that really does want to respond to every single comment, but I physically can't do it. There's just so many notifications, emails on all the different social media happening all the time. So anybody wants to ask any question, ask this guy. This guy.
Just drop them here. I'm actually going to post each week a photo over in the community tab on my YouTube channel, and you can just post them right there. It'll be so easy just to pull them off, and then we'll do what we did here today, and then people jumping into live stream can ask questions we haven't heard. And that saves him the time because, again, it's a small team, but it's a lot bigger than it was a month ago. I mean, the progress is just amazing. You can feel it by watching The Office and seeing the life that's in there, seeing the stuff on the walls that wasn't on the walls before. And you were gone for a good week and a half.
Oh, no, it was 2 weeks. I was away in New Zealand.
So really, that's all happened in a lot less time than that.
Yeah, and I'm actually still trying to get used to the jet lag. I'm still, my sleep isn't 100% back to normal. But funny enough, today we just went and looked at another office. There's a possibility.
You were mentioning.
We're still kind of looking into it, but we basically, there's an office that's 3 times the size of this, and it would be great. We obviously need to look into the guy who's offering it to us is giving us the opportunity for this office at a really good discount rate. So it's something that we're thinking about and looking into.
It's a good problem to have that you need more space.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I am very happy for you and the success, and I'd love the chance to get to say I told you so. I knew I would. So this has been a great ride, and we're just starting. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this thing all goes out. And next week we will hopefully have Hal with us as well. And again, if you haven't checked out this guy's work, you can find him on Twitter as the easiest way. It's HAL Hal, HANEY, Haney Art, ART, all one word on Twitter. And then from there, he's got his Etsy account where you can look at stuff. You can purchase stuff. I got 2 myself that right after I get off here, I'm putting them up on the wall. It's going to be when you put these 2 things together. I mean, I am more excited than I was, and I was already excited.
Yeah. And Hal's a great guy. We spent quite a bit of time talking, getting to know each other, and now we're like brothers. It's awesome. So yeah.
Wow. Very cool. Well, I'm looking forward to having a chat with him myself because I found his work to be just inspiring.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Awesome.
All right.
Yeah, once again, definitely. Any questions, please get in contact with Vince McMahon. It will really, really help me because, as you probably already know, a lot of questions get asked more than once. And it is taking a lot of time going through everything and answering. And as I say, I like to try and answer every person individually, but it's becoming a lot of work. So, any questions from now on, we are going to do this, I think, once a week or at least.
Yeah, we're going to shoot for Mondays. I think that works out best. I'm usually off on Mondays.
Yeah. And as well, thank you to you for taking the time to do this. And
I love this. I am so excited about this. This is, for me, like you, it's a passion. It really is. And I've done almost 18, 19 years of bitching about bad games. So I'll pour myself in any way I can to making a good one.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Thank the team again. It's so nice to see people in there with you. Yeah. Nice meeting everybody. Continued success. Enjoy your coffee.
That's what I need to do. I need to go get one.
I hear you. Me too, man. All right. Well, we'll see you guys again next week. We'll be right back here on the Nation Network with some more Ultra Pro Wrestling updates. Until then, everybody, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.